Hello. It's almost 2 o'clock. My name is Seth, and these are my 8 cents. Today is Father's Day. That's kind of hard for me for a multitude of reasons. But today is even harder because I woke up this morning. And when I wake up each morning, one of the first things I do, besides, grab my phone and listen to music or go out and have a cigarette, is I go and I check the happenings on Facebook. Seems to be almost a ritual for me. I would like to back up. Please bear with me. I said that I was going to take a long hiatus, not long, but a hiatus from my project here at Seth's 8 Cents to reconstruct my mind and try to get better. And it's hard. It's really, really, really hard to the few people who have seen my videos. It's even harder because today I found out that a dear friend of mine by the name of Brenna passed away. Whether it was yesterday or the day before, it's fresh. It's a fresh wound for me. The reason why Seth's 8 Cents was so important was because in some ways it was a spiritual successor to Rogue Studio, which is the project that Brenna and myself were working on. It was going to be a podcast, a humorous podcast, but it was going to delve into a lot of different waters. Around the time we were getting ready to start, my first marriage was ending, which, because of that, I had attempted suicide, which some say is my trademark. Not only that, but the whole landscape around the pandemic time in 2020 had made things unsure and at times impossible. And I told her that I needed to step away to get right. Well, we did do one video that was not shown, which I'm going to, for her, I'm going to air on here, so you can see where we were going for. We had conversations, and some of them weren't good because she was dealing with some things. I'm not going to get into it. It's not my story to tell, but she was dealing with some things I am quite familiar with. And it kind of, in some ways, put a crack into our bond or our relationship. Who is Brenna? I'll tell you. Brenna was my best friend. And we had never seen each other in person. We've always had that plan to one day meet in person, but we never had the opportunity to. There are two types of people who deal with things and who are struggling. Those who allow it to make them become an evil person, and those who strike out of habit because they know nothing else. And Brenna was the latter. But I understood it, and I loved her regardless. It's crazy because you got people who are fighting for their lives and people who just don't care about their lives. And the people who are fighting for their lives usually end up being the ones who lose their lives. Brenna was a fighter. Brenna was one of those people that if you went into battle, she was your number one partner. People like Brenna you can't find very easily. Sometimes the folks who are at times rough around the edges end up being the best people you need in your life. I deal with death a lot differently than most people because I've been around it so much. The first funeral I ever went to, I was 5 years old. It was my mom's husband. I didn't even know why we were there. And then the following year, when my brother was murdered, I went to his funeral. And I asked the question, if I touch him and wake him up, will he be mad? I'm 6, right? Seems like every year almost, like clockwork, someone I knew or I had a memory with who I was close to passed away. It became commonplace. Well, nowadays, when someone I was close to or had memories with passed away, I am in denial for a while. Until a few days after. Then it sets in like, oh, this actually happened. Oh, I'll never hear that voice again or see that face anymore. That's it, right? The reason I'm making this video is not just to understand what I have learned, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. The past few days to almost a week have not been the kindest towards me. Like I said before, I made a video not too long ago in detail about what I was dealing with and such. And I would like to thank my wife for being such a wonderful fucking trooper, because sometimes my mood swings, they go all over the place. And being on the other side of that, which I have been, not with her, but in the past, it can be very exhausting. It can be very, very, very exhausting. And it's very, very, it's very exhausting, and it's heartbreaking. And I feel in some ways that my wife is sending me a message right now. I love you too, Flower. My wife is the reason why I'm able to remotely function, because she's had to go into overdrive to protect me from myself. When I wanted to say I didn't want to do this anymore, I didn't want to live anymore, or I had actually attempted. I've had my recent suicide attempt yesterday. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be human, and I'm going to admit that. I have a lot of issues, and I'm understanding them, and understanding issues aren't easy. This is a conversation that Brenna and myself have had, and Brenna's touch on suicide, although that self-destructive side of me may not agree, I understand it. It's not assholish for people to say, yeah, suicide is a selfish act, because, yeah, you are taking yourself away from people who love you. It's selfish, but it's selfless at the same, because in my eyes, I feel that by ending my life, I'm telling my wife, my daughter, people who love me, I love you guys so much that I'm taking myself away so you don't have to see me suffer. But I leave a void nonetheless. That's not what Brenda did. Brenda, like I said, was a fighter. That woman was a strong fucking fighter. Through all the things that she had experienced in her lifetime of being alive, she was a fighter. Whether she was wrong, whether she was right, she got her point across, and she let you know what it was. Unapologetically, Brenna. The last time that we spoke was sometime towards the end of last year, I believe. I could be wrong. But she called me out of the blue on a day, I believe it was a day off, via Facebook. And the conversation went here, there, and everywhere. And I kind of felt frustrated that she wasn't understanding where I was coming from, because Rogue Studio, our project, did not happen because I was not mentally there enough to commit to it. And I understand her frustration. We talked about this idea. She's making connections. But all I could think about was survival. That's all I could think about, essentially, was survival. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. Like I said, my marriage had ended. I lost my place to live for a while. All I had left was my life and my job. That's all I had. Apart from being a dad at the present moment that was staring me directly into the face. That was all that I had. I was on her Facebook profile a few days ago, and something said reach out to her, but I didn't, because I didn't know how it was going to be received, because so much time had passed since we last talked. Who knows what that conversation would have been like. Even though I consider myself a Muslim, I don't know where people go when they pass away. I don't know. Obviously, I don't. But I would like to think that Brenna is in a better place. I would like to think that Brenna is at peace without the things that she was forced to grow accustomed to. I would like to think that she knows what true happiness and true love and true euphoria without certain agents are, and that they exist. So to you, Brenna LeRae, I love you, girl. And may you be at peace, because god damn it, you fucking deserve it. And like I said earlier in this video, the next video is not just the first episode of Rogue Studio, but it is dedicated to the life and to the memory of you, Brenna. This one's for you.